Alrighty, peoples, persons, and ladies and gentlemen, grown-ass adults and children. Probably not children because my lives are not for children, and you shouldn't be in here if you're a child. Get out. Um, but for adults and the grown-ups in the room, we're working on the war scythe again. So, I've ooh, a little dusty in here. I have got my socket made for the tang. This is the jacket, and then it is a burnt-in design. The blade is heat treated and ground, polished, all that good jazz. It is going to get gun blued later down the road. But basically what we have is a tanged construction going inside of the burnout, and then a socket that's going to have 2 copper pins to hold that in place. The tang will obviously be epoxied in position before being fitted tight into the socket with the pins. So that blade will not ever be able to come out. It would have to snap to come out, which is not going to be likely given the method of construction we used for this. So let's mix up some resin and start getting this big boy assembled. I need to get a drink real quick. My throat's kind of dry. Mucho bueno. Now, where are those cups? Oh, drop one. And this. Hello, hello. How's everybody doing today? So, for this process, I'm going to be using just some JB Weld Clear Weld. That's what I use on most of the stuff for these kind of things, these types of glue ups, because it sets to gel in 5 minutes, and in about an hour, it's hard enough to work with. But fret not, we are not just going to sit around after we glue this up for an hour and wait for it to dry. We're going to draw out some designs on this whole piece of wood that will be wood burned, so the entire handle will have like a wood burned kind of pattern that'll run down it once I draw out the pattern and do all that. That's going to take at least an hour to get that drawn out and burned in, but that'll be something we can do while this is drying, and while the blade hardens into position. There's a couple of other things we still need to do. Hey Chris, it's been a minute. How you doing, man? Working on a war scythe. It's good to see you. Good to see you. How you been? Glad you're watching too, man. So once we get it glued together, it'll look something like that. Copper jacket with brass pins in the top and bottom, and the war scythe blade with that crazy pattern that we put in the spine. So we're just going to mix up some epoxy and glue it in place. That's the first step. There's a couple steps to this construction. Isaac Powell. How you doing, Isaac? How's it going, Mr. Isaac Powell? Yo, yo, yo. I like it when the people talk, because I like to talk with the people. It makes this process a hell of a lot less boring. If you've ever done metalworking or bladesmithing, you know it is a long process every time. And some of the steps get rather tedious. So it's always nice to have people to BS with whilst I make the things. Well, sometimes I get ideas from you guys, which is even more fun. Came from TikTok. Hey, so you've been following me on TikTok then? Or did you just see the video and then decide to come join? Because either way, I'm cool with it. Either way, I'm here for it, man. Love the recent projects. Things have been turning out great. Thank you, thank you. You've been following. Awesome, awesome. Glad to hear it. So the TikTok has, I think, like 100 some odd more people following it than the YouTube does. So I'm trying to kind of integrate the two, just in case, because you never know anymore, like if YouTube or TikTok or whatever's going to be around do the things, or whichever one's going to censor what content, because TikTok really does not like my bladesmithing content. For whatever reason, it likes to tell me that I'm breaking community guidelines whenever I show something. So that's always fun. But YouTube doesn't seem to have much of a problem with it as long as it's for an older audience. Yeah, so the treadle hammer, there's a little more done to it, I think, than what I showed so far on the YouTube channel, what's been released, but that's the treadle hammer that's been in the recent YouTube videos. Just making sure I mix this resin really, really good, because I want this stuff to set up really well when we put this blade together. My camera stand is very wiggly. Thank you for the likes, by the way. Appreciate it. Chris, I usually need a moderator, come to find out, so if you would like, the job is yours. There's another gentleman that was in the other day that was modding for me as well. If he comes back, you guys can be mods together, just to keep things under control in case things start getting out of hand, which I don't foresee them doing, but they have previously. So we're going to fill up a good amount of this cavity with epoxy here, and then we'll force the tang down inside of it. That way we don't have any air bubbles or any air gaps. If we have some spillover, that is a-okay. We can always wipe it off before it hardens, and it'll be like it never happened. Slide that down in. Get it seated all the way. Nice and deeply. There we go. Needs just a tiny little bit more right here. And then just a little bit right there. Just a little bit. Okay. And then we can wipe the excess onto the wood. And the reason I'm wiping any excess onto the wood here is twofold. For one, it gets rid of the excess visibly, like you won't see it when it dries, but it also seals the end of the wood that's exposed to the elements, leaving me with a waterproof end. It does look like some of it has escaped through the inside of our socket, but that's okay, because when it escapes through down, it's actually kind of a good thing for us. It's going to help glue that jacket to the wood in some spots. Now we just need to convince these flanges back to position where our holes are drilled. It's going to be the biggest pain out of this whole process. These holes are tight. I've only got 5 minutes before my resin sets up. Getting close, getting close. We can always adjust things afterwards too. Once we get the pins in there set up. These jackets are always a huge pain from what I've heard. Sorry, I know I'm not getting to you guys' comments at the moment. I promise I will get to you guys. I'm just making sure that this gets taken care of first. Good. This one is not. It decided to bend on me, so we're going to need another one. I have a spare right here. What am I doing? Pins are in, pins are in pins, pins are in. Cut off the excess to where we can rivet it down. There we go. Focus on getting the jacket down into position all the way and closing up any gaps at the top of the jacket and all the way down. On there fine. Now we're going to use the vise to crimp it down as tight as we can get it as well, a couple of different ways, just to make sure those rivets set really hard in place, because they are brass, so they are a little harder than our jacket, which is a good thing, because they're softer than the steel, meaning that when I bite them down like this onto the steel, they're going to hold incredibly strongly. And when this epoxy all sets up, none of this is ever going to go anywhere ever again. And yes, I did soften the jacket beforehand, because of a little principle called work hardening that works with copper and such things. With copper and brass and these types of metals, these softer metal alloys, they tend to work harden when you apply pressure to them. Meaning, they get harder and locked into position more the more they're worked, as they build up stress. Meaning that now that I shaped it the way I want it, it's locked into position. AT! How you doing? I've been following Chris. Will do may not be able to stay on too long. You understand how busy? Yes, indeed. Definitely love trying to stop and watch the cool thing. Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. How's everyone today? Hey, AT. How you doing? We are also doing good. Let me wipe off that excess up on the blade before it dries. Crap. Well, it seems that's already drying a little bit. That's okay though. Do you have any more? Nope, that's all hardened already. That's okay. What I might do is I might make a little leather water cover on the top here too, just for aesthetics. I'll probably end up doing that. That'll be easy. Always appreciate you explaining it. It definitely helps. Oh yeah, absolutely. So now that this is hardening up, I'm probably gonna do a little leather water cover up here just to cover the wood and the brass that's up there. And then I'm probably gonna do a little twine wrap under here, just a little ways, just to blend the aesthetic between the wood and the metal so you don't have that unsightly bottom section showing. Even though it is lipped like this is, it's cupped back onto the wood on the top and bottom. It'll just look better if I have a little bit of a twine wrap down there. But the blade is now affixed, and once that finishes hardening up, it's going to be solid as a rock in there. Where is that little wedge that I had? This is the thing about live streams. I get to embarrass myself by losing stuff all the time. There it is. I also have a little wedge of wood, and that's going to be driven down ever so gently in between the side here. Crap, dropped it. There we go. And the reason for that is just to secure it that much more. Basically, the resin is about 75% of the way gelled, meaning that it'll still grab stuff, but it's more solid now. Okay? What that allows me to do is jam a piece of wood, like a wedge on an axe, down inside of a little gap I created, like a groove. And what that'll do for me is, just like an axe, wedge that piece closed. So even if the epoxy fails, there's still a mechanical bond holding the tang in place, in addition to the pressure from the socket. Burn it and seal it with linseed. Oh yeah, most definitely. I will do that. I'm gonna do some wood burnings first. Then I'm gonna burn the whole thing, and then seal it. I have linseed and I have Danish. I like Danish oil for darker woods, linseed for lighter stuff like this. Piece is going to turn out definitely a cool one to see. Yeah, well, it's not the final touches just yet. It's just in construction right now. These pole arms can be quite a task to put together. So that is always a thing, getting these guys assembled the way that I want them. It is always quite a task to get them quite up to snuff, so to speak. Cool. And this jacket's going to get polished and get some markings as well later down the road. Char the end grain before. Oh yes, for sure. I'm also going to be on the end piece, probably making some type of cap or metal end, maybe a leather end as well, just to go with the overall aesthetic. But yeah, how this came about is I had somebody ask me to make a war scythe because they haven't seen very many war scythes being made on YouTube. So I went for a traditional construction, short-bladed war scythe with a, decently tall handle. I think this thing comes out to about 5 foot, somewhere in that neighborhood. But yeah, it's turning out to be a pretty cool little bladed weapon. So now that the jacket's starting to set up and we've got the pins and everything in place, we can start drawing out a design for the lay-in for the wood burning. Question is, what type of pattern do we want? I'm thinking of imitating the pattern on the blade, which shouldn't really be that hard to do, and do that on both sides. Oh, can't really even see what I'm doing here, Hooker. Come on. There we go. Show the people. Okay. So the pattern, if you saw the stream where we put the pattern in the blade, I'm thinking of imitating that same pattern with the wood burn down the side. Love the war scythe. Yes, I love the war scythe too. It is a crazy weapon. that forward hooked blade is definitely not a tool to be scoffed at, that's for certain. Let's get something to draw on with. That'll work. Pencil. So we're basically just going to do a dot and a C shape and a dot and a C shape that goes the other way. Using the graphite pencil, I can kind of lay out my pattern. And this is the base pattern. We're going to probably do 2 patterns on it, just because I feel like that'll make it look even that much cooler. And yes, I know the part I'm burning up here that's going to get wrapped with twine is never going to be seen, but I like to start my patterns on my handles all the way end to end, even if they get covered up. That way, when I do assemble stuff on top of it, the pattern flows through the piece. Yeah, I feel like imitating the pattern in the blade here is the best way to go. So that's the way we're going to go. We're basically just making an S, a squiggly S line that runs back and forth all the way down. I'm going to grab a chair because this is going to get tedious as hell otherwise. This is a very old pencil. So the eraser's absolutely trashed. Okay, let me get that chair real quick. Make this shit easier on my back. Much better. How's everybody's day going so far? Anybody doing anything exciting? Anybody do anything exciting recently? I went camping and caught a whole lot of nothing on fishing. But I still had a good time. I caught 8 crawfish, so they were a good appetizer. Waiting online to get loaded with a good view of Lake Tahoe. Ooh, that'll be nice. Tahoe is, from what I understand, quite beautiful. Never been, but I've heard that it is nice.
wish I could post a picture in chat.
I do too. I wish you could post a picture too, man. I've heard Lake Tahoe's gorgeous. I just went to Strawberry Reservoir out here in Utah. This is a very tedious process. Doing the layout here. And yes, I know I could just go straight to this pattern because it's a pretty simple pattern without needing a layout. But I like layouts. They help me visualize what I'm doing. And they help me kind of get an idea what it's going to look like beforehand. So I don't dedicate my resources and my time to doing something that, quite frankly, will be ugly. Lets me see if it's worth doing to begin with. Okay. Flip it over and do it again. Never mind, it goes off track. Erase that part and do it again. Goes off track right there. Oh shit, heading out. Word payoff. I'm definitely looking forward to getting a chance to come back. It's out. See you, Chris. It was good having you, man. Best of luck with life and whatever you're doing. I hope you have a good rest. Much better. That actually stays on track. Good. Now, we can start drawing on the other side. Isn't this exciting, guys? Like, isn't this the coolest freaking live stream? Oh yeah, that's hardening up nicely. That jacket's not going to go anywhere when it's done. Where's my tapper tap tap? Just noticed. Missed a little bit of a spot. To tighten things up, but that's okay. Much better. Sharpen that back up a little bit more.
That's better.
Oh Lord, it's my mother. 29 people, how come no one is talking? I know, right? Hey, I don't have any grass, but we can pretend you're cutting my grass in the future. Oh, this is not for cutting grass, Mother. This is for cutting people. This is a war scythe, not a grass cutting scythe. Hello from Istanbul. How's it going? How you doing? Good to see everybody. But yeah, AT's right. There's 29 freaking people and nobody's saying a word. They must be astounded by my good looks. How can this man look so attractive? How can his weapons look so good? Joke's on you, I'm ugly as hell and so are my weapons. They just get the job done like I do. Getting there, getting there, getting there. And of course, I wasn't paying attention and I took myself right off sides. Had to erase all that crap and do it again. Yet again, people, this is why we do the layout. Because the layout's not permanent. The layout's just a layout. And we can redo the layout anytime. What we can't redo is the burn. When we would burn it, that is fairly permanent. I see. Running out of eraser here, folks. That's not a good thing. pattern stain on line this time. No, that's good. That's good. That's what we want. That's exactly what we want. Thanks again for all the likes, everybody. I do appreciate it. It does help me get the stream out. So it is always very much appreciated. Okay. We'll use you for the round bits. And we'll use you for the carving bits. Sandpaper, yeah. Sandpaper is better for, oh, erasing, yeah, sandpaper, yeah, for sure. I just don't want to remove any material if I don't have to, you know? Alrighty. Now we just wait for this sucker to get hot. Give me just one moment, I need to check something. Sorry about that. Had to fix up the live real quick. It was going weird on my end. Alright, and we will start all the way up top. Work all the way to the bottom, bit by bit. Are you getting hot yet? Not quite yet. I can smell it heating up. Alrighty. So, while we wait for the burning irons to heat up, anybody got any ideas for what to do on the bottom? Do we want to throw a spike on it? Do we want to put a cap on it? Spike's kind of dangerous to the user, but it can be fun to have a bottom spike on stuff like this. We could go a couple of different ways with it. And don't, for God's sake, don't say another blade, because I'm not putting another blade on the other end of this thing. This is not Darth Maul. This is not Star Wars. This is a historical weapon, so be realistic here, people. We're not quite hot enough to burn just yet. Not quite. It's getting there, though. Another scythe. God damn it, AT. That's what I just said not to say. That would be cool, though. Have it face the other way. So, like, vice versa scythes. You know, have one face this way, one face that way. For, like, a bladed, like a dual blade, spin staff kind of blade. I mean, I could definitely do it. I have the material. It's just, I don't think it would sell. And if it did, it would be a big risk to take, so to speak. Because I feel like I would risk having somebody come after me with a lawsuit for cutting their leg off with my own creation, if that makes sense. Come on, heat up. I might have to use the other one if this one doesn't want to get hot enough to use. It's heating up, just not quite enough yet. That one's a pretty old one. I've got another one that I can resort to if it's not working. So we might end up just resorting to that. Because we don't want to sit here all day and wait. We want to actually make some progress on this thing today. Legitimately, just something that, yeah. And honestly, it's not very well, I mean, it's not very heavy at all. Like, this blade is pretty thin. This socket is nice and light, thin copper. So it's not exactly like you're going to feel much weight on the end of this thing to begin with. So I don't want to overweight the back either. So I'm going to figure out something to do with it. Probably later in its construction. Once I get some more elements put together on it, I'll get a better idea of what I want to do to it. It's getting there though. Give me just a sec. While that heats up, I'm going to go run and use the restroom, and I will return to y'all shortly. Alrighty, let's see if it's hot enough yet. Just making sure I didn't miss anything. Yeah, this guy's just not going to get hot enough. I think it's too old. Luckily, we have a backup. So that means we have to wait for it to heat up now. Oh boy. This is exciting content, ladies and gentlemen. The most exciting content you'll ever see right here on YouTube. A man waiting for a wood burning tool to get to heat. Oh yeah, that's solidified already. That's hard as a rock. Cool. Dead straight, which is always good. That's what we want. Sweet. Yeah, war scythe coming together. You can see the pattern that's on the blade, kinda. We're gonna imitate that pattern with the wood burning tool. That's what we're gonna be doing to the handle here in a sec once it gets hot enough. We're gonna imitate that same pattern down the two sides with the wood burning tool. And then once we've done that, we'll figure out something to do with these sides. Do a wrap with some twine, do something for the back end, bring it all together, really. Okay, please tell me you're getting hot enough. Yes, you're heating up much better than the other one was. Maybe I should move you guys to a better location so you can see a little better what I'm doing here. Let's see. Yeah, that'll be better. Do every act of your life as if it were your last, with silver inlay on the shadow. Oh, dude, if I had the money to do a silver inlay, I would. Bro, I don't have the money for silver. Hopefully one of these days I will get to work with some really beautiful materials like mammoth and that other stuff. But unfortunately that is not financially doable at the moment for me. Your wrists, man. This stuff kills your wrists. These curves on a thin pole. Here in a sec, I'm going to scoot it down a little bit so I can just sit in this chair and work on it right here. That way I don't have to adjust myself too much. And yes, we still have a long way to go on this, because we're only a third of the way done with this first side. Then we need to flip it over and work on the other side. Then we can come back and put the dots in all the way down on this side, then flip it over, do the dots on the other side. So with this project's going to have quite a ways to go. Getting too cool, so we'll let it heat back up for a second. What do you guys think so far? I mean, the pattern's going to be a little asymmetrical. It's going to be a little odd because I'm doing it by hand off of a very rough idea, and I don't want it to look perfect. I want it to look tribal. I want it to look antique. I want it to look like if it was done, 600 years ago by somebody that was rushed to make a weapon for a man that paid him a large sum of money. But since it's in the modern day, I can take my time with it and not be rushed. I can intentionally design it to look rustic and ancient and kind of feel like it's from a different time, hopefully. That's my goal with all this stuff. Starting to get there, starting to get there. We're about halfway down this side of the half now. Let it heat back up for a second. Live didn't show up for me. Hey, how you doing, man? Looks like it's still letting you be a mod since I gave it to you once already, so I don't have to reassign it to you, I think. Is it showing up that way on your end? Sorry the live didn't show up for you. I know you hit the bell and everything. Told you, YouTube kind of does that to me sometimes. I think it does that to everybody sometimes. Just doesn't work the way it's supposed to. Another thing this pattern is going to do for us is establish some grip. This is not a perfectly cylindrical pole either. It is flat on, well, not flat, but semi-flattened on these sides. Swamp Panzer, how you doing? Hello there. Christ-Centered Ironworks, hello! How you doing? I've watched your stuff for so long, man. Wow. You saw the live? That's incredible. Oh my god, he's streaming again. Yes, indeed. Hammer. I think I fixed it so I can see when you go live. Cool. Bonjour. Hello. You must be French. I am not French. I do not speak French. All I know is bonjour and oui. But I am wood burning the haft. Dude, man, it's so cool. Can I show you this? This is what I'm making right now. It is a war scythe with a socketed construction, copper socket, forged in pattern, forged blade, all that jazz, on a hardwood haft. That is so awesome, man. I've been watching your stuff for so long. My treadle hammer that I made, this one that I'm doing this work on, it's kind of hard to show you, but I'll try. This was inspired by the compact treadle hammer stuff you sell. I'm just very broke, so I built my own design the best I could. It's got a safety on the top. The snake has a hook that catches it. It's pretty cool. So it is a single bevel at the moment, but I am going to knock a 15-degree bevel onto the single bevel that's already there, just to yeah, let's say make it a little bit more durable on the edge, because with the single bevel it'll get really thin and be more likely to chip or roll. So I'm going to give it a little bit of a reinforced short edge. Might cut a little less efficiently, but it'll still perform admirably. All it's designed for is, like, people messing around in the backyard cutting gel dummies and watermelons and the like. But right now I'm just wood burning in a pattern for grippage on this that's based off the pattern. CC, hello? You should make mead to be authentic. Make mead to drink. Cool, man. I know what it's like being broke. You gotta do what you gotta do for sure. Yes, indeed. But the Lord will find a way, man. Been through ups and downs, and God's always been there. Blessed me with the ability to make my own shop. Blessed me with the funds to build it, and the knowledge from the jobs that I work, so, everything will come in His time. It was good to see, talk with everyone. Ah, man, alright, I'll see you. I do not know how to discount engineer. I like that. Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. It was a lot of work. I have some videos that actually are just going up on some of the stuff I built for it and how it runs and stuff. If I had time right now, I'd show you, but I'm kind of on a time crunch. Trying to get this finished up so I can get on to other projects before I have to go back to the 9 to 5 tomorrow. You must be patient and you must be slow and intentional when using a wood burning tool. If you've ever slipped and hit yourself with the iron side of the wood burning tool, you would understand exactly why I say this. It's not just about messing up your design, it's about keeping your fingers happy. Super pour la touche. I am so sorry. I wish I could speak French. Is there a way for me to translate that in the live to English? Like, if I click on it? Well, just stop to watch and say hi. Just subbed. Oh my gosh, thank you, dude. Thank you for subbing. That means a lot. You're a much bigger channel than me. Thank you. I'll see you around. God bless. That's cool. That dude does incredible stuff. Has some really cool anvil testing videos too. He has a whole catalog of, like, blacksmithing blanks and stuff that he does. Tool stuff, like tool kits that you can build yourself that are partway assembled. DIY treadle hammer assembly kits, like all kinds of stuff. That was really cool to see him in here. I can see the end of the haft. I'm only about 1.5 foot away from it. Then we can flip it over and start on the other side. Yay! Can't you just tell I'm so excited? It's already making a difference in the aesthetic, just having that line run down there. Once we get the dots in here, it'll be really cool. There's no way for me to translate it in the live. I'm guessing. Are you asking what time it is? Looks like for you it's 13 past midnight. It is 5 o'clock here. 5:14 to be precise. Let it keep back up for a second. It's getting a little bit too cool to burn. But the end is in sight. It's right there. Right there. So, almost done with this side. Almost done with this side. Adjust this again so it's easier to work on. Come on. I haven't run a wood burning tool this long in a long time. A couple of years, I think. I used to wood burn all the time. But I just don't do it as much as I used to, and I think I'm starting to miss it. I think I'm going to start doing it for a lot more projects for wood parts, because wood burning is fun. Not in the sense of getting the work done being fun, but in the sense of looking at the finished product when all the wood burning has been done. Getting to the end of the wire, so I'm going to have to flip it the other way. And yes, this is all splintered down here, and I will be cutting that off. So I'm not going to carry the pattern all the way to the end, just to about right here on both sides, because the rest of that's getting removed. and do the other side. There's the first run on that side. Now we just gotta do the same thing on this side. Cool.
me one sec, folks.
My wife needs me to help her start up a fire real quick. Where did I put it? There it is. There it is. Alrighty, I am back. Mission accomplished. Sorry, man, had to. No worries, man. No worries. A quick thing to do is a quick thing to do. I just had to do a quick thing. Give me one moment. Yep.
Chat is so dead right now. That's sad. Nobody wanting to ask any questions or throw any ideas out there or make any jokes or have any fun, you know? That felt good.
Just skinned the crap out of my knuckle on the back of my vise there. No, actually, not spear, war scythe. War scythe has curved blade. Inward part of the blade is the sharp part, the inward part of the curve, I should say. Similar to a spear, but not for thrusting or throwing. More like a battle axe, but without the weight. Kind of a pole sword of sorts. One of the earlier varieties of pole blade. pretty cool. I appreciate the insight. Absolutely. So, a gardening scythe would have that same shape of blade, but facing down across like that. A war scythe is turned up, because it's much easier to fight with a weapon that's oriented that way. The blade is much easier to use that way efficiently and to control. The weight's not all over the place. It's not designed for cutting grass, it's designed for cutting down the enemy. A grass cutting scythe is an entirely different tool. Very similar blade construction, and oftentimes in wars, peasants would have their scythes turned into war scythes. But this is not going to be a peasant's war scythe. This is going to be quite an ornate thing by the time it's done. And yes, this will be for sale on my Etsy store. I've done some metal inlays, but I prefer to do all my beautification work at the forge. I prefer to punch and chisel and form the metal at the forge to the shape that I like. Like if you look at the blade of the war scythe, it has a pattern that's hot chiseled and punched into it. And this pattern that I'm doing on the handle, on the pole of this weapon, is going to imitate that pattern in the blade. So the whole object will flow from one piece to the other. Hello, Michael Santarella. I probably slaughtered that. But here is the pattern so far on both sides. Now what we're going to do is the same thing we did on the blade. It put these dots in all along these curves. This will be significantly easier than what we just did, but it will probably take significantly longer or roughly the same amount of time. That just heavily depends on two factors. And that is how long it takes to burn these holes, and how long it takes for the iron to heat up in between burning each one.
I don't know how well you're going to be able to see it, but those holes are going to make that pattern look much better. Awesome, thank you.
Thanks, bud. You take it easy too. Okay, it's starting to get pretty slow at burning these holes, so I'm going to scoot it down and let it heat up again for a sec. It's coming together though. Thank you, thank you. Caden! Is that my Caden? Is that my Caden? Bro, I just got back from not Sunset, freaking Strawberry Reservoir. It said I missed a call from you when I got signal. I don't know when you called me over the course of the weekend, but I was up there all weekend. I had no signal. Hola. Hello? Looking good, brother? I appreciate it. What you up to? Mr. Caden? Yeah, it is you. I thought it was you. But yeah, this is gonna be one hell of a war scythe, man. Look at that blade and that pattern, and then it runs down through here. We're gonna make this pattern a little prettier on the wood than up here. We still got twine wrapping to do. We've still got all kinds of shit to do to this miraculous beast of an object. But right now we're just burning the holes to make sure the pattern mimics the pattern on the blade. Well, it's gonna be for sale, bro. I'll give you a good price, because you're my buddy. When it's all finished up after the testing video and everything, once I gun blue the blade and everything, I'll shoot you a picture first and see if you want it. That way it doesn't end up going on Etsy if you want it. Methinks I need to let this heat up again for a second, because it's starting to burn really slow.
also getting caked in creosote.
Oh yeah, that's going to give you a very affirmative idea of where the edge is. Cool. Grab a drink real fast before I keep going. Starting to look good. Seems like I found a spot in the wood that's got quite a bit of resin in it. Kind of boiling when I put the wood burner in there. Cool. One side complete. Let's get the other side done. There's the pattern with the dots added. Small feature, but makes a difference. Especially, you know, to the eyes, not just the camera. The camera doesn't quite pick it up as well as the naked eye. But it makes quite a difference in the pattern. Now we just need to put the dots in the side. Woohoo! Okay, let that heat back up again for a sec. Alright, bro. It's good for you to drop by. Thank you. I'll see you in the next one, brother. That pick up will overheat again. now we've got our dot and spiral pattern running all the way up. Now we're just going to add some accenting elements to it. We're going to add some dots up the inside of each one of these curves. Just a quick little 3-dot triangle. That's all we're going to do. These are not going to be particularly deep. These will be more surface than anything. We will probably have to come back and redress these holes later after we do our major burn.
Well, the lighting is getting really rough.
So here's what we just did, and here's what we had before. So we're just exaggerating our pattern a little bit for that war scythe. What's up, Bird Gamer? How you doing? This chair out of the way. Do this last part on my feet.
Yeah.
Alright, give me 1 sec, people. I'll be right with you again. My wife needs assistance. this heat up for a second again. Wow, 19 likes. Sweet. Thank all of you guys for your likes. Thank you all for your eyeballs. Thank you all for your earballs. Even though your earballs aren't being tickled by many things at the moment. I hope your eyeballs are getting tickled. Even though the lighting is trash. Once I'm done with this pattern, then I'll do my initial twine wrap up here. Once I'm done with this twine wrap, I'm going to do the burn first. Yeah, burn it and oil it a few times. That'll be next. We're getting there though. Almost done with the dots.
Apparently wood burning is not the most fascinating thing on the planet. Who'd have thought?
Okay. Get some better lighting. Sorry about that horrible lighting there, folks. But we've got our pattern established on both sides. So it comes down from the blade, and we have that pattern in the blade that runs down into the handle for the war scythe. So I've still got a lot of work to do on this. I've still got to ornate up the copper jacket a little more. I've still got to do the burn overall on the wood and the oiling, which is going to be what comes next, is going to be the oiling and the burning and the sanding. So let's go ahead and grab a torch and start burning it. that we've gone ahead and charred the pole here, you can't really see the pattern unless you're looking at unless you're looking at it with the white. Ooh, got myself pretty good. You can't see the pattern unless you're looking at it in the right lighting. Just kind of crappy. But we're going to cut the end off a little bit back where those marks were. And then we're going to char the end, hand sand the whole thing real quick before we oil it. Much better. Now we can char the end. Come on. This torch does not like to cooperate. There we go. Okay, now let's get some sandpaper. Okay. Now it's time to be smart. We could spend all day going really slow hand sanding this. Or we could spend less time going really fast. just like that, we've hand sanded pretty much the entire pull shaft. Now we just need to knock the dust off of it, and then we can oil it. So slowly but surely it's coming together. It's starting to look like a proper pull scythe. Starting to look pretty nice. Starting to feel pretty nice too in the hand. Now we got a bunch of linseed oil, and we're going to drench this puppy in linseed oil. Make your jokes now about the rod and the staff and all that stuff. Now, we are getting somewhere. Now I'm just going to let that oil soak into that wood for a few minutes before I touch it again. I'm going to go wash my hand off real quick, so I'll be right back. It's soaked in pretty much everything it's going to for now. So we're going to just wipe it down. Get all the excess oil soaked up off of it. And I find a rough sack kind of cloth like this works best, because it's not only going to soak up the remaining oil, but it's also going to give you almost like an emery cloth finish, because the rough fibers are going to smooth the surface of the wood out and give you a really sheen finish on the wood. So you can see that pattern in that charred wood now looks very at home. Looks very fitting for the handle. So now we've got a few things left to do. We're going to make a little leather, basically topper, to cover the wood where our tang is glued in, where it's epoxied in place, I should say. This is a very lightweight weapon. Like, this is surprisingly light and maneuverable for its size, which leads me to think it's going to be very scary in testing. That something like this, that's this long of a lever with that curved blade, it's going to be quite a thing. So, next step's going to be cut a piece of leather for this, glue it in place, so that way we've got a leather top there, tie ourselves some twine on that transition point here, because we can, and then figure out some kind of butt cap or bottom piece. We might just do leather. I've done that many times in the past and it always turns out good. But we might go with something a little different than leather this time for that bottom. We'll see. We'll see where it takes us as we finish this project up. All I do know is I still have patterning to do on this cuff link here. So that's going to be an interesting part. Yeah, we've made some pretty good progress on this project today. We've gotten the construction pretty set at this point on this war scythe. Got the nice pattern in the blade. And it transitions into a new pattern in the handle. It's not uncomfortable, but it gives you just enough grip, and it also lets you feel where the sides are better. If you can feel that with your fingers, you know your edge alignment's good, which is nice for such a lightweight weapon. I mean, the point of balance on this is actually pretty good. It's not very heavy, so having it this high up the haft is not bad at all. It's quite well balanced for what it is, which is a war scythe. So, I think this is, no, I'm thinking about ending the stream, but I'm thinking about not, just because we're getting so low in traffic and almost nobody's here today. It seems like everybody's busy at the moment. So, I might end it here. I might just work on some of the other parts. We'll see. Actually, no, we'll end it here. We've made enough progress for today. So yeah, the next thing you'll see on this will be later down the road in the testing video, because I'll probably just do a finish/testing video for this crazy war scythe. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys liked what you've seen and you aren't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe so you don't miss out on future streams and future videos. Yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Stay sharp out there. If you're looking for a custom sharp object like one of these guys perhaps, check out the Etsy store at hookersblades.etsy.com. And I'll see you guys later.